Joining us now from Missoula in Montana is John Lott. He's the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center and an economist and a pro-gun advocate. Mr. Lott, welcome to the program. First of all, tell us your reaction to the latest events.
Well, my reaction's the same as anybody else's. I'm heartbroken that this happened, and I hope things will be done to prevent these types of things from happening again. I mean, it's a crushing thing when something like this happens.
Right. So what sort of things need to be done to stop this kind of thing from happening again?
Well, 94% of the mass public shootings that we have in the United States take place in areas where guns are banned. These killers, I mean, you look at the Buffalo shooter from a couple weeks ago or others, often explicitly leave messages, explanations for why they picked the target that they did. In the Buffalo shooter's case, he said that he wanted to go to a place where he knew victims would not have permitted concealed handguns because it would make it easier for him to go and do the attack. If you have some people who are armed, law-abiding citizens who are armed, that makes it risky for the criminals to go and attack somebody because with concealed handguns, he doesn't know who it is that might be able to go and stop him.
But it's a sad state of affairs, isn't it, when you
time.
have to arm the people who are educating our children?
Well, we have mass public shootings around the world. I mean, France has a much worse one than we had here in the United States. In the concert shooting that they had in 2015, they had 130 people killed in that one attack.
But it's not just schools, is it, in the United States? Well, we're talking specifically about the United States here, not other countries. It's not just schools, it's also movie theatres, it's also places of worship. I mean, should you arm the projectionist at a movie theatre? Should you arm the popcorn seller? I mean, where does it stop?
Look, you know, if you look at a per capita rate, the United States has 330 million people, okay? You compare it to lots of countries in Europe, for example, you know, Norway that may have like 3 million, or you may have 60 million in France. You have to adjust for the population sizes. And when you look at Europe as a whole, even though they have extremely strict gun control laws, you have a rate that's not that much different from the United States.
Well, let me give you another example then. The United Kingdom, the rate of deaths in the United States is 100 times higher than that of the United Kingdom.
It's not 100 times higher. Look, does the UK have a lower homicide rate than the United States? Yes, definitely, much lower, maybe about a third. But the thing is, they had even lower homicide rates relative to the United States before they had strict gun control laws. It's not because of strict gun control laws that they have a low homicide rate. They have a low homicide rate despite that. That look, when you go and you ban, here's a simple question. Name me one place in the world, any place in the world, that's banned either all guns or all handguns and seen murder or homicide rates go down.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question, because we're not talking about, we're not specifically, we are in this case talking about mass shootings, but we're not only talking about mass shootings in the United States, because a daily drumbeat of gun violence in the US goes beyond mass shootings. For example, in Texas, 100 women were shot and killed by their intimate partners. It's not just an issue of, as you put it, arming teachers and those who, are patrolling these areas. It's also individual incidents, isn't it? And that's the majority of cases, in fact.
Look, there are plenty of developed countries that have much higher homicide rates than the United States does. But look, if you want to go and protect people, I'll just mention it with you, talk about intimate partner murders. About 90% of murders in the United States are committed by people who have adult, violent criminal records. These are people who are not, your normal, everyday citizen. If you think you're going to stop criminals from getting guns, good luck with that. It's about as difficult to stop criminals from getting guns as it is to stop criminals from getting illegal drugs. A major source of illegal guns in the United States are drug dealers. Drug dealers have weapons in order to protect their very valuable property. It's not like a drug dealer can go to the police and say, look, this other gang stole my drugs, can you help us get them back? They have to set up their own little militaries to go and protect that. And if they can make money selling drugs or they can make money selling guns, they're going to do both of those types of things.
Do you think,
problem that you face,
Mr. Lott,
is that when you pass gun control regulations,
just want to jump in there. I apologize for jumping in, but listen, do you agree with the policy that in Texas, for example, where you can open carry a weapon without a license or background check? Does that make any sense?
Well, there are very few people who open carry. But you have about 21 million Americans in the United States that have concealed handgun permits. They're extremely law-abiding. They're arrested or convicted at any type of firearms-related violation at about 1/10 the rate the police officers are. And police officers are convicted of firearms violations at about 1/20th the rate of the general population. These are extremely law-abiding people. The problem that when you pass many of these laws, it's the most law-abiding citizens that you disarm, not the criminals. And if you disarm law-abiding citizens relative to the criminals, you make it easier for criminals to go and commit crimes. And by the way, I have to say one thing. One of the guests you had on earlier talking about all the money that the NRA spends. In the last congressional elections, the NRA spent about $3 million. Michael Bloomberg alone spent $110 million.
All right. Well, we're getting into the weeds.
So it's just a question of
John
money
Lott,
buying
we're going to have to leave it there because we need to move on. But I do appreciate your perspective. Thank you very much indeed for coming on Al Jazeera. That's John Lott from the Crime Prevention Research Centre, an economist and pro-gun advocate. Taking this on.